Hello everyone, welcome to QNAP live show. I'm your host Sam for today's topic. Well, recently we have launched a lot of different new models like 16 bay, 9 bay, and a new system of our QTS. But for all this NAS, they have something in the same place, like we have PCIe slot. So most of the time we will say that you can connect to like our 10 gig transmission speed card or our AC 2016, our wireless card, or our QM2 card. So I believe some of you might think that how many cards that you have, how many cards that QNAP has, and what are the differences between all the different cards.
Yeah.
So today we invited Jason, like we met
Always
him.
do.
Yeah,
Hi,
like
Sam,
always.
everyone.
So Jason today he will tell us, bring us the revealing of the new QM2 PCIe expansion cards, and we will show you like what kind of QM2 card we have, and how many M.2 SSD card that the QM2 card can support, and what are the different specs of the different QM2, and we will show you how to identify the different spec by the name of the QM2 card, and then of course imagine that we will insert the different kind of QM2 card into the NAS PCI slots, so it will increase the loading of the NAS. So how to do the best heat shrink of the QM2 card will also help to higher the efficiency of the NAS while it's working. So today we will bring you each of the topics, and we will explain to you one by one very clearly. So we will get into the PowerPoint now, and then Jason will show us like what are the differences and what are they. So the revealing of the new QM2 M.2 SSD 10 gigabit card by PCIe expansion. From here we can see we have like 3, 2, 2. We have 7 different kinds of names. So how to define, how to see the differences between each of the names, we will tell you later. So Jason, please show us the differences and the advantage of our QM2 card.
Okay, so today I'm bringing many of the upcoming QM2 cards by QNAP. So let's take a look at the existing QM2 cards from last year. So here there are currently 4 different QM2 cards by QNAP. And on the left group, you will see there's a QM2-2S and then QM2-2P. So 2S means it's a SATA version of the M.2 SSDs.
Okay.
So here you will see suppose up to 2 of the M.2 2210 and then 2280 format of the SSD, SATA SSDs. And 2P suppose PCIe, so that's why it's named PCIe.
Okay.
And then on the right hand side, this one is a more 10G combo version. So not only it supports these 2 cards suppose the dual M.2 ports, but also has a combined 10G base T port there. And the 10G is not just a 10G single speed. Okay, it uses the latest Ethernet technology and base T. So it is also multi-gigabit support. For example, it will be compatible with the upcoming 5 gigabit Ethernet and also 2.5 gigabit Ethernet.
Okay.
So you are future proof with those QM2 10G 120 cards.
Sure.
Okay. And what can you do? Let's take a look at what can you do after the installing the QM2 card on the NAS.
Of course.
Right? So with that, here you will see you can add after you add the QM2 card on the NAS that's without SSD cache slot or the specific designed 2.5-inch SSD tray on the NAS. Then if the NAS has such, take this as an example, there's a TVS 463, 4 bay, and it has a 1 PCIe slot. So after you have installed a QM2 card onto this NAS, instantly QTS will recognize that the NAS now has dual M.2 SSD slots. Okay. So with that, you can set up after you have installed the QM2 card and SSD, you can set up the SSD cache to help the random IOPS and random transfer much faster.
Okay.
And for example, data database transactions can be sped up. And what's more is that with the QNAP as Qtier auto tiering technology, you can set up the SSD tier with those M.2 SSDs to get a very high speed performance. And not just that, you also get the increased storage capacity, which is not from, you cannot get additional storage capacity with a traditional SSD cache. But with Qtier, you can actually utilize the additional SSD storage space. And so we make it even more easier for upgrade. For example, in Qtier's 4.3.4, the current version, if you're upgrading from existing pool, you can actually, after you add the QM2 card and the M.2 SSD, you can actually freely upgrade the pool into a Qtier supported pool, so instantly enhance your performance.
Okay. Yeah. So for Qtier, well, actually we have explained this in so many different of our videos.
Yes.
Basically, Qtier is a good way to help you to identify which is the data that you always install, loading and downloading.
Yes.
So we will call it hot data, and we'll move the hot data into SSD for you to have a faster speed while you upload and download. And for those data, we don't do it. We don't try. We don't do the changes. We don't access much. It's called cold data, so we will move it into hard disk. So that is the difference. We define the hard data and cold data of Qtier.
Yeah. So let's take a look a little bit more in depth about the SSD cache acceleration.
Okay.
So with that, it can actually help you reduce the I/O latency and also increase the random IOPS performance. And also, what's more with QNAP as SSD cache is that it supports a global rewrite cache, which means that if you have a multiple storage pools and volumes and LANs, actually the volume is down, you can just set up a single SSD cache to accelerate either one of them or all of them. Can be like based on your use. Okay. So it's a very convenient for you to just set up and forget it. Right. Yeah. So with that, you will see that different SSD and SATA you can set the SSD you can set up for the SSD cache setup there. Okay. And for the Qtier explanation here, you will see Qtier is basically an all-around, all-purpose acceleration technology. So it's the advantage is much greater than just a traditional SSD cache. So our Qtier right now is at 2.0. So we made it so smart that it can automatically detect your data access pattern, and then automatically, just like Sam mentioned earlier, move the frequently accessed data into the hot zone, which is in your high-speed SSD tier. In this case, it will be the M.2 SSD tier on the QM2 cards.
Of course.
And then also move the less frequently accessed data into the 3.5-inch big capacity hard drive zone. Yeah. And also the new feature from the Qtier 2.0 is that actually you can set up tier on demand on a specific share folder. So you know that it makes your makes your NAS administrators much easier to define and then categorize your data access with those specific Qtier share folders. So it help you better with the data management.
I see. Okay.
So let's take a look at the example with the QM2 cards. Okay.
Sure.
So here you have a TS80U series, the R2 version. So from the back, you see that on the left-hand side, there's a one port that's already one PCI slot that already has a pre-installed dual port 10 gigabit network card. Okay. So you are left with empty a spare PCI slot. Okay. So with that, to get the maximum 10 gigabit performance, you can actually add this QM2 card, the QM2-2S or 2P, and then you add the SSDs, and then you can help accelerate your 10G performance with those RAID 0 or RAID 1. Right? But the issue with RAID 0 is that it's very fast, dual SSD speed, but you lose the data protection. So if one of the SSD dies, then you lose the data stored on the SSD. With RAID 1, you get the performance of just one one SSD speed,
Yes.
but also only the capacity of just one SSD capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some pros and cons with just dual SSD slots. So in this case, QNAP is going to release the brand new 4-port based QM2 cards. So you will see there's a QM2-2S.
So I can do RAID 5.
Yeah, so with 4 ports, you can set up a RAID 5, RAID 6, or RAID 10 with those SSDs. Yeah. So you just need one PCI slot on your supported NAS, and then you can easily add 4 SSD ports onto the NAS. Okay.
Wow, that's a huge one because 4 SSD at least 1 T, right? And then with RAID 5, we will have like almost 750 gigabytes of the storage capacity.
Yes.
Extra.
And also speed. And also you get the increased speed over RAID 1.
Yeah.
So QNAP has 2 versions. So one is with SATA, the 4S, and then one with PCIe, the 4P. Okay. So basically you just need to use one PCI slot to get this. All right. So now let's take a look at the design architecture of those 2 cards.
Of course.
So first of all, this is the 4S, the SATA version. So with that, you get, for example, the PCI connector bandwidth is Gen 2x4, so you get almost about 2,000 megabytes per second. And then it goes into the card with a PCI switch to connect to dual SATA controllers, so PCI to SATA controllers. And each SATA controller has 2 ports of SATA interface for the M.2 SATA. So the performance actually will be generally mostly enough because rewrite is about for the M.2 SATA SSDs, rewrite is typically about 500 megabytes per second. So as you can see, you add them together, you get still under 2,000 megabytes per second. Right? Okay. And now look at the PCIe version. There's a 4P-284. The 2.8. See the 2.8 means the card interface is Gen 2x8. That's why we name it 2x8. So 2.8.
So how about the 4? The
4 means the actual bandwidth on each individual PCIe, the M.2 SSD slot.
Okay.
So you'll see through the PCI switch, there are 4 different M.2 PCIe slots. So each one is Gen 2x4. That's why you see the 4 after the 28.
I see. Yeah. Okay, good.
So with that, you can install up to 4 of the M.2 PCI slots. Even keep in mind that even though each port supports the bandwidth of Gen 2x4, it is still compatible with all the higher speed M.2 PCI SSDs, such as Gen 3x4 or the other types of different speed of SSDs.
Cool.
Okay. Now, so speaking of that, I'm going to demonstrate how you can install the M.2 SSDs on the brand new 4-port PCIe QM2 cards, and then after you install into the NAS, how you can check the status on our Qtier storage manager to instantly see the 4 SSDs.
Okay, of course. So
let's switch to the live scene here on the table.
So while we switch into the live scene, I just want to know if we are using a 4 SSD port card. Is the QM2 card be longer?
Yeah.
So can every of our NAS install the 4-port SSD card?
Mostly it will be the recommend version of the NAS, like ATU series, because they are longer, have a longer more space to install that. And also on our some of our bigger NAS models, such as the 82 series, the 77 series, you can install the QM2, the 4-port version on the PCI slot number 1 with a longer space.
Okay, so let's
let's switch to the live demo here. Sorry, the table here.
Oh, I'm sorry, the webcam.
Yeah, the webcam. Okay, so I have a prepare. This is okay. Oops, probably not enough light. Okay, but anyway, you see the difference. So the 4-port is actually a little bit long. Is longer than the dual port version of the QM2 cards. Yeah. Right.
So this is a
regular 2-port QM2 cards, and this is the long version of the 4S and 4P.
Okay, so
the 4-port version.
Just switch.
Okay.
Yeah, like we have a bit longer, like 5 centimeter, right?
Yeah, about 4 or 5 centimeters.
Yeah, but with this length, we can have 4 SSD card right here.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So
So
how can you install M.2 SSD into the QM2 card? It's very simple. So first of all, you will need to remove the 4 different screws for the heatsink. Okay. After you remove that, you have access of to the QM2-4S card here. Okay. Now we have put this protection pad just in case if you just install 1 or 2 SSDs, then you can still leave them intact to protect to make the weight more balanced distributed.
So we just remove the rubber. Is that rubber or foam?
It's like a rubber pad, foam pad.
So we just remove that.
Yes. So keep in mind that there's also a thin layer of a rubber pad here on top of connector, so you don't have to remove that.
We don't do that.
So let me remove the first one here. Okay. So I'm gonna install the SSD here. Okay.
Let me check on the focus of the camera. Yeah.
So here I have a QM2-4P, the PCIe version, the card here, and then I have also a PCIe SSD M.2 PCIe.
Okay.
And on the back, you see PCIe, the SSDs, they have a double-sided or single-sided, depends on the capacity. So QNAP, our QM2 card supports both-sided version, so you don't have to worry about if there's any compatibility issue. If your SSD is single-sided, then we also provide this cushion pad for you to add them to the button the other button side of the M.2 SSDs. So it keeps you also, when you push it, like when you install it, it also help you the SSD is not too bent or break down.
So we can just put it anywhere.
Yes.
At the other side of.
Yeah. So after you install that, and then you have installed the M.2 SSDs here, and then you will use our provided screws to secure these M.2 SSDs. So we provided those smaller screws for you to secure the M.2 SSDs onto the board.
So after we have put all the SSD onto the QM2 card, we just screw the cooling pad back, right?
No, we provide a different one. Yeah. So here you will see we provide a different type. They are like this. This blue color shaped. Okay. So with that, you will have to take this out. First, let me remove the top part here. Okay. Oops. Okay.
This is for cooling
This
purpose.
is to provide the contact against the heatsink on the top.
Okay.
So here you will put them on the top of the M.2 SSDs. Okay. Because this provides better contact, even without contact against the heatsink.
Okay.
So you can bring up the heat to the heatsink to make the SSD cooler. And you will see there's a hole here. It's because for some of the SSDs, they are the older version of SSD. They come in a shorter version, so 2260. And in some of our NAS models, we support 2260. So with that, you can also install this.
Okay.
So after that, you just you keep in mind that if you don't need for the empty slot, just leave this out. Okay. And also here you will see the yellow one. The yellow one here. I'm sorry, it's not very clear. Yeah, the yellow one here. With the yellow, they are thermal sensors. So in our Qtiers, you will see not just the M.2 SSD temperature from the smart information that's reported by the SSD itself, but also you will see the temperature from the thermal sensor to give you a double protection about the SSDs. And why do you need these thermal sensors and better protection with our smart fan and the heatsink? You will see that if you compare our QM2 cards with those cheap, I don't say cheap, but those other
more economic version.
Yeah, those other cards, the adapters in the market, you will see that we have a very customized, very good quality heatsink with the smart fan, it can automatically adjust the fan based on the SSD's temperature. And the reason is because with M.2 SSDs, because compared to a traditional 2.5-inch SSD, they come with a metal case, right, to help the dissipate the heat.
Yes.
But with M.2 SSD, they are bare, like a bare drive. So actually, when it is running at high performance, it can actually reach its high speed, high temperature, and high speed. And no, typically they are about, if you look at M.2 SSD, the manufacturer, the data sheet, they are, the maximum speed is about 70 degrees Celsius. So if your SSD is without this good heatsink and the fan, the M.2 SSD can reach very high temperature. So if it's high temperature, it's gonna go into a self-protection mode, the SSDs, which means it will start to slow down the performance. So for example, it may drop down to only 100 or 200 megabytes per second, just as slow as a hard drive, or even slower, just try to cool down itself.
I see.
With that, if it happens, you lose the performance, the benefit of using the SSDs, right? And also, if the SSD is in a high temperature environment in a long time, also it's not good for the health, SSD health.
So I think we have double protection to the heat. Like we have one heat sink here, and then we have this
thermal pad to have provide more contact against the heat sink.
I think this is like a facial clay because it's sticky and soft and feels good when touching it. Okay.
So after that, you actually just put the screws back in, and then you have finished the installation of the M.2 SSD.
Of course.
All right. And then after that, you will install the card into a NAS model, and then you will instantly get the four of the SSD in our NAS QTS. So you install 4 SSDs. So now let's switch to the QTS. Let's take a look at the QTS interface.
So you mean our
QTS UI?
UI will automatically detect the new SSD?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
So with the QTS UI, if you switch after you install the QM2-4P or 4S card here, so here an example, this is another NAS that's already has the QM2 card installed, right? So with that, you can after it's installed, you will see that you will see 4 of the M.2 SSDs. Each one there for the SATA SSDs, and then you go to storage here, and click on this storage pool. And then you will see that click on the expand. So here you can upgrade your existing. My existing pool is RAID 5, which is a hard drives, right? So performance with 3 hard drives just about 300 megabytes per second in RAID 5. So I can instantly upgrade this pool to a Qtier pool. So instantly take advantage of the SSD high-speed tier to accelerate my data transfer.
Yes.
Okay, so let's finish the first demonstration of this SSD installation and the Qtier support.
Okay, so let's go back to the slides and we see. Okay, we show you how to install a QM2 like a 4 bay with SSD. So this is a brand new design because we can now provide you more than RAID 1 when you are using the previous version QM2 with 2 M.2 SSD card. So now you can have higher capacity of your storage, and now we can set the Qtier so that you can have a faster speed. So we will take a look at the other specs.
Yeah. So we have also come out with 2 different cards that have a more compact design. So first one is the SATA version with 2S, and then you will see with the -220 behind that. So this SATA version of QM2-2S, with dual SATA ports, you will see that compared to the current QM2-2S, it is 5% shorter in terms of the length. And again, here just to show you the PCIe, this card is a PCIe Gen 2 by 2, so total about 1,000 megabytes per second. And then you will connect to a SATA controller and then 2 ports. So still very sufficient bandwidth to support the dual SATA SSDs. And this is the PCIe version. So with the PCIe version, the connector is Gen 2 by 4, so a little bit faster. And then it's also shorter version, 5% shorter, and then provides up to 2 of the PCIe NVMe SSD slots. Now, so when you have those shorter version of these 2 QM2 cards what's the application, right? So the shorter means that you have more space. It can be installed in more NAS models and then in more PCI slots, right? So here just gives you an example. So any QNAP NAS with a PCI slots can support the shorter version of QM2 cards.
Okay.
So here I take example of the new TS1677X and also the 77 family and also our TVS 82 series and 1685. So with the slot number 1, you can reserve that because the slot number 1 is a PCIe 3.0 by 8. It's a very fast PCI slot. So you can reserve that for your graphics card. So you can use it for your virtual machines, or you can use it for our Qtiers and also for transcoding. So because graphics cards are longer, right? So you can use that on the slot 1 with the best performance.
Sure.
And on the top left, PCI slot number 2 and 3, you can actually install the new shorter version of QM2 cards that can fit there, and then you can easily create a SSD tier or SSD cache with those QM2 cards.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So the shorter version means more PCI slots can be supported, more NAS model can be supported. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so if you are a owner or if you offer a middle to high-end QNAP NAS models, or if you're gonna buy a good one, then you will see that with QNAP NAS models on the same budget, actually we provide more PCI slots, right? That we took based on our previous NAS models in our previous broadcast, or we provide faster PCIe slot speed, right? So either more slots or higher speed or both, right? So how can you take advantage of those very high speed PCIe 3.0, the PCIe Gen 3 slot? So here, just give an overview. If you are one of those lucky owners,
like what do I have here?
71U, the 73, especially the 73 series and the 7780, 71 series, they all have a very fast Gen 3 PCIe Gen 3 slot. So Gen 3 by 4, Gen 3 by 8, and by even 16. Those are very fast models. Then how can you take advantage of those very high bandwidth and then increase your NAS performance? Right?
Well, of course, use our the new QM2 card with 4 slots, right? That is how we can utilize the bandwidth with all the new models with the PCIe Gen 3 slots, right?
Yeah. So here, of course, you need to have a compatible, a fast M.2 SSD to go with those, to get the best performance.
Yeah.
So here, just give you a quick overview of the current M.2 SSD types. So from the slowest one, and probably also the cheapest one, is the M.2 SATA SSDs. So it's about the 6 gigabit per second speed. And then after that, which is a new type of the M.2 PCile NVMe SSD, the Gen 3 by 2. Gen 3 by 2. Gen 3 by 2, I think if you look at the CES of this year, 2018, there's more and more SSD vendors that come out with this slower speed. But still, if you look at it, still much faster than the SATA version. Yeah. All right, and the price is basically comparable.
They are under pretty much the same price, but the speed
is
more than
twice fast.
So almost 3 times faster.
Yeah. So this is probably the rising star of the M.2 SSD in the future. And then the more obsolete PCIe Gen 2 by 4, you get probably only find it in the older notebooks. Okay, and then the current mainstream, the Gen 3 by 4. Okay, even though up to 32 gigabit per second, but if you look at the various online product reviews, the actual performance is about maybe 2,000 megabytes per second.
Okay.
So once you have those high speed PCIe NVMe SSDs in the M.2 form factor, then of course you need a QM2 card to go with the NAS, right?
Of course.
And in all our previous QM2 cards, I show you guys is all Gen 2, right? PCIe 2.0 interface. Yes. So of course, to take advantage of the high speed M.2 SSDs, QNAP is also launching the brand new high speed PCIe Gen 3 QM2 cards.
Cool.
Yeah. So we have 4 cards available. So first one on the top is dual ports. So 2 ports of M.2 PCIe SSDs, And then, so you will see the 2P344 and then 2P384. So basically, the difference is just the actual total bandwidth on the PCIe connector. So Gen 3x4 or Gen 3x8.
So I see here is all for PCIe. Now no SATA, right? Because we see from the previous page, like the SATA and the PCIe, well, basically like their budget are pretty much the same, but for PCIe the speed is much more faster. So that is that why we launching more QM2 card, but with PCIe only?
Yeah, because in the previous slide, you see the PCIe NVMe SSDs, the M.2s are much faster speed, and also the price gap is not so much, right? Especially with the new Gen 3x2 SSDs. So we feel the need to take the maximum to achieve the maximum bandwidth on the PCIe Gen 3 slots offered on the QNAP NAS. Then you need a faster QM2 cards to support that. Right? And so to bring the maximum potential, then of course the upcoming PCIe 3.0 supported QM2 cards will be your best choice to go with your high-end fast NAS.
Of course.
Yeah. So besides the dual port, we also have the 4-port version. So with the 4-port version, 4P-342 and 4P-384, again, is the PCIe total bandwidth difference. So Gen 3x4 and Gen 3x8. All right. So let's take a look at each card one by one. Okay. So here, the first one is a Gen 3x4 card. Okay. Gen 3x4 card, you will see that QNAP uses a PCIe switch to provide dual PCIe slots. Okay, so each one has a maximum of the Gen 3x4 slots. So it is okay because if you have two PCIe SSDs, then if you do a RAID 1, right? So if you do RAID 1, speed is only one SSD.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's actually quite good. Already match the performance. Yeah. So, but if you want the better performance, right? If you're on RAID 0, then don't forget to look at our this high-speed Gen 3x8 version. Yeah, Gen 3x8. So that one you can fully take advantage of the two M.2 PCile SSDs.
So we can choose the QM2 card depends on our demand for the SSD if we are going to take it as a RAID or not.
Yeah, because for some customers applications, I think with just a Gen 3x4 performance is already quite fast. It's already like 2,000 megabyte per second, over 2,000 megabyte per second, up to 4,000. So it's already provide enough bandwidth much faster than hard drives.
It's pretty pretty fast.
Yeah. So let's take the next one will be the 4-port version. So with this one is also again with a Gen 3x4 interface, but instead you get the 4 SSD slots. So with that, of course, you can do a RAID 5, RAID 6 with this 4 SSD setup. So with a 4 in RAID 5, RAID 6, you get 2 or 3 times of the SSD performance. So it's still quite fast for most applications.
Okay.
Yeah. So finally, here is the probably the king version.
Okay, so it's QM2. 4P means 4 PCIe.
4 of the PCIe SSD slots.
Okay, and 384 is PCIe generation 3.
Yeah, PCIe generation 3, 8 lanes by 8. So 8 lanes.
8 lanes by 8. Okay.
And then 4 means each SSD slot has a by 4 speed.
Okay.
And 8 just our model name.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so with that, if you want to bring out the maximum potential of the NAS performance, be sure to check out this QM2-4P-384A card.
Okay, I'm so gonna have one. Can I have one?
Sure. If you will do another show for me.
Of course.
Okay, so here we're gonna try to check the second demo is performance.
Okay, sure.
So with that, with this, you have the NAS with I have installed only 3 hard drives in RAID 5. So with 3 hard drives in RAID 5, if you don't have used the QM2 to accelerate, you get typically about 300 megabyte per second, around 300 you see on the left here. Okay, but if you install the QM2 cards with SSDs, you will see when you do a data transfer, it's like 3 times as fast.
Almost, 3 times faster. So let's check on the demo.
Okay, so let's switch to the QTS and then let's look at the demo.
How come only several new cards can bring the speed from like 400 into 1000 and 200.
Yeah, because QNAP has a Qtier technology. So, like I said, you will first try to write the data into the high-speed SA tier, and then after that, you will monitor your data usage and then move it to hard and cold tiers.
Does any other brand has the same like technology?
Currently, mostly the other brands only support SD cache on the same level.
So the Qtier function is QNAP exclusive again.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let's
okay, so here you will see I have 3 different hard drives installed in RAID 5, okay, 3 1 terabytes. And then also I install QM2 cards here to accelerate the performance.
Sure.
Okay. And here you will also see that I have enabled, for a specific share folder, I have enabled the Qtier auto tiering.
Yes.
So like I mentioned earlier, with our Qtier, you can just define a share folder to support Qtier to give you the maximum flexibility and the performance. All right. So let's try to do a real test here.
Okay.
So with the local disk, here I have a disabled Qtier. I have a mounted share folder without Qtier acceleration. Okay. So let's try to move the data there and see the performance. First of all, you will see a cache because in the first few megabyte cache, and then you will see the speed drop down to about 300 megabyte because it just RAID 5, 3 hard drives, right? RAID 5, so you get 2 hard drive speed, right? About 300 megabytes per second.
Oh, it's dropping a lot.
Yes. Yeah, so this is a typical speed if you just have hard drives in RAID 5, 3 of them.
Like
about on average 300 megabytes. Okay, so now I have another one here. So let me minimize this one first. So I have mounted also another share folder that I enable Qtier. Okay, so let's try to see how much performance gain it can get. Okay, try drag and drop.
It's more stable.
Yeah, gain more time. So it's very steady, and then
fast.
the performance right into the NAS is keep it at 1 gigabyte per second. So you can.
Very fast.
So it just shows you with a typical NAS, okay, QNAP NAS with if you add a QM2 card and SSD, M.2 SSDs, you can still have a benefit of a large capacity with your existing hard drive volumes, big capacity. Right, but you can use the QM2 and Qtier to actually accelerate your data transfer performance.
So for all the viewers, you don't think, don't you think that the speed is not a very huge consideration for you because like you don't want to do the extra cost and like for the QM2 card, SSD, something like that. But you have to remember that if you are an enterprise user or you are studio or personal studio or any other, like you are doing the business for yourself, to have a faster speed is a really good advantage for you to hire to bring up your efficient while you're working, or you just want to save your data, or you want to do the backup things.
So let's switch back to the slide, PowerPoint slide. Okay, so just a conclusion again. Okay, so but you may think, okay, I have a QM2 card that can really help the NAS performance. Only if I purchased the QM2 card for my QNAP NAS, right? But my PC, I also want to accelerate the performance of my PC, right? To pair together with the NAS. Yeah, of course. So here with QM2 cards. Here, actually, most of the operating systems already supports the PCIe based SSDs. Okay. So, for example, if you have a Windows 8 and Windows 10, then those Windows versions already have a built-in driver for the support. Yeah. So most of cases you can already install the QNAP QM2 cards and install them on your Windows 8 and higher version or Windows Server 2012 and 2016. Then they can already recognize the QM2 cards, the SSD on those, and then you can get very fast performance with SSDs.
But if I just install this card into my computer with SSD installed already, can I use Qtier? I don't think so because
No,
it's Windows and Linux system.
Yeah, well, you can use some third-party software to do a similar function.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And keep in mind, if you have a Windows 7 or a Windows Server 2008, you will have to install an additional driver for the for Microsoft to support this kind of setup. Okay. And on the Linux, most of the major Linux systems such as SUSE, Red Hat, Ubuntu already have a built-in driver for those PCIe NVMe SSDs and cards. So you can basically just plug and play.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
And don't worry about the SSD getting hot because our QM2 cards, like I mentioned earlier, has an active cooling module. So with a heatsink and fan. So even without a Qtier's advanced support, it can still automatically monitor the SSD's temperature.
We have the thermal detector.
Yeah, we have a thermal sensors there. So actually, it can automatically detect the SSD temperatures and then turn the fan in the low, middle, and high speed based on the temperatures, right? And then also with the QM2 cards, we provide the various brackets, so you can install it on your computers, right? We have a low profile and a full height brackets you can install. And also, if you want to install, just another tip is that if you want to install the QM2 cards on your computer, be sure to also check your motherboard support for the PCIe NVMe support.
Okay.
Now, sometimes the BIOS upgrade may be needed. All right.
Sure.
Okay. So let's about a quick go over about the QM2 cards. Yeah. So here's the overview of all the QNAP QM2 cards, including the existing QM2-2S-2P and the 10G version, and then the upcoming ones such as the shorter version of the QM2 cards and the 4-port version, the QM2-4S and the 4P, and then the very high-speed PCIe 3.0 QM2 cards, the one on the right with the red title.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, you based on your performance requirement and budget, and then your application such as just SD cache, or you want to RAID 5, Qtier, RAID 1, and you choose the various 2-port and 4-port and various speed QM2 to bring the most out of your NAS.
Okay, so right here, I have one question. Like for the middle one, the QM2-2S and 2P 10G 1T, the 10G means that we support 10 gigabit.
Yeah,
the port, right?
Yes, the 10G based T-port with RJ45 connector.
Yeah, but for the expand 4 M.2 ports, like we have QM2-4S, 4P, and 4P, we have 2A4 and all the other versions.
Yeah.
For now, it does not support the 10G based T, right? Why?
Because currently we still need more. It's a technology limitation. So one day when the technology advances, then we may integrate another 10G port on this new version.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
because we need a very advanced PCI switch, the Gen 2 and Gen 3.
Okay.
So to get, and also we want to reserve the maximum available bandwidth for the M.2s.
Okay.
Because like I said, most of QNAP NAS, we have more PCI slots, right, for the compared to the other brands. So you can really use one slot for the 10G card.
Yes.
And then simply give the best bandwidth for those QM2 cards.
Okay. And for all the viewers, you don't have to worry about that, because basically, if you have a NAS that can install a QM2-4P card, that is like rack mount or a bigger NAS mount. So basically, like we just introduced for the recent several videos.
Yeah, TS73 or the 1677X.
Yeah, they already have the 10G port on the rear panel of the NAS. So you don't really have to worry. So choose what you need and by your own choice and by what your NAS already have. So that is what we can provide you, like in 3 kinds of different levels and in 3 kinds of different sizes.
Yes.
Yeah. So these models are what we have and what we had and what we will have in the future. So we just take a look and focus on the M.2 PCle Gen 3, the red column for 4 pin. So that is a very important thing and a very good news. We have checked the transmission speed. We can see that with the with or without the Qtier function on one NAS, the transmission speed is a very huge difference.
Yes.
So this is what we present to you today. We hope you like it. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's go back to live. Yeah, so this is the first. Recently, I think this is the first video that we introduce the hardware, but we do not introduce the NAS. Why? Because we know that we have launched so many different kinds of new models of the NAS, and you know that we have high-end technology on the NAS, like normally it's on the PCIe slots or more PCIe slots than Synology, and then we have built-in 10G-based ports. And not only one, we have several 10G-based port on the right panel of the new NAS. And then we have a new function to support the SOHO, the home use NAS, to support the snapshot in the future. So now we provide you more choices if you want to upgrade your current NAS or the NAS you are going to purchase with the PCIe slots. We provide you the QM2 cards, and we let you know that in the future we will have more different kinds of QM2 cards. But when can we get the 4P QM2 card?
Yes, all the QM2, the new QM2 cards will be available in sometime in April or early May. So be sure to check out your various distributing purchase channels and then look out for them to show up.
Yeah. So if you are going to buy a QM2 card recently, just hold on and wait until we release the new 4P. So we will provide you more and more choices on your demand. So thank you for your watching today. If you like our video, please subscribe our channel. And next week we will bring you more and more different kinds of videos, no matter it's on hardware, software, or new technology. So thank you, Jason, for today's information, and we will see you next time on QNAP Live Broadcast. Bye bye.
Bye bye.